from Zion National Park. Welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, 6 cycling traditions that we think should be brought back. The question is, will you agree?
I doubt it. But we've also got the weirdest bike you'll ever see, a 9-year-old who's ridden to Everest Base Camp, and white shorts that actually look quite good. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that Mathieu van der Poel has opted for white shorts.
He was back racing for the first time since winning the World Road Champs at a criterium in the Netherlands, sporting a white helmet, white bike, white shoes, white socks, white frame shades, and a white speed suit, complete with those white shorts.
Yes, that's a lot of white.
It's a lot of white.
Now, I think I'm going to come across as a little bit of a hypocrite on this, because I've definitely said in the past that I prefer the traditional black look for the shorts. But after a few years of Rise mainly wearing those black shorts, I've got to say I'm a fan. That said, I did notice he's using black bar tape for some reason.
I thought that.
Yeah.
Maybe they lost it. As a man who can justify getting new bar tape for every race, you think he would have to go for white.
You'd have thought he'd have gone for white, wouldn't you? Yes. Anyway, we also learned that Ollie Bridgewood is bucking the trend of GCN presenters. We normally join, don't we, at full fitness, peak performance, and then gradually decline over the years. But Ollie seems to be doing it the other way.
Not satisfied with completing the 1,000-kilometre Tour de Stations, he smashed out a 19:03 10-mile time trial locally last week.
I did have a bit of a chuckle at his Instagram post, though, with the text beneath it, where he said he probably would have gone sub-19, but he was still a bit tired from the Tour de Station 1,000 kilometres. Fair enough, I suppose, but I like the excuse. I never went sub-20 for a 10-mile time trial. Did you ever manage it?
I don't think I did. There are some courses which are like a ski ramp, though, Dan.
Is that what he used?
Well, I'm not pointing anything.
Anyway, finally, we learnt that Carol Thomas, aka Cadence Cat on the GCN app, took Cy Richardson's suggestion rather seriously. For me, this is one of those kits that I love, but that I wouldn't wear myself, and that I wouldn't think anybody would like to see me wearing either.
No, I don't think we would, quite frankly. I imagine this person might, though, as in might want to see you in it. Carol Thompson, aka the Cadence Cat.
Now, I wasn't expecting anything to happen after that throwaway comment from Cy, but Carol decided to take action, creating a sort of mannequin with my face on it and making a replica Canyon SRAM special edition jersey, which she sent over here all the way from Canada. How cool is that?
That's proper cool. There we go.
I mean, I don't think it would stand up to much riding because there's quite a bit of sellotape holding this thing together, but what an amazing effort. Thank you very much, Carol.
Yeah, cracking. Thanks, Carol. I love that. The question is, though, who looks better as an effigy? Dan or me?
Well, I think our viewers would think we both look good as an effigy, particularly if it was set on fire on Guy Fawkes night.
It's a very British reference. So look it up if you have no idea what we're talking about.
But thanks to Carol once again for all the effort that you made for that. Right then, on to our main topic for today's GCN show, cycling trends that we think should make a comeback. We've got 6 of them, haven't we?
Number 1, shorter socks and shorter shorts.
You mentioned this to me earlier before we started filming, and I was quite surprised that you went with that, because as someone quite tall myself, not quite as tall as you, I don't think my body suits short socks and shorts.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't mean super short. I'm not talking Shawnee Heat style. I'm talking about 10 years or so ago when things weren't quite as extreme as they are now. Back then, we still had hideous tan lines, but they were covered by a decent pair of casual shorts and socks. But now, well, they shorts, they can't see your kneecap, Dan. And the socks, they're halfway up the legs. It kind of looks like it's turned into a football match.
Aren't they? And I would agree, there's not much chance of covering that sort of tan line with any clothing, is there? Unless it's full trousers, basically covering your whole body. Right, well, I'm with you on that one then, just not too short.
Yeah.
Right, so I don't like really short shorts or socks. Something I would like to see make a comeback, frame pumps.
Oh, but they're a bit ugly, aren't they, Dan?
Well, they might be ugly, but my word, but they're better at pumping up tyres if you had a puncture than a mini pump. Now, this could be, I think, a bit of a pie in the sky idea on my part, because I've got a feeling the traditional frame pump probably wouldn't fit a modern carbon bike in the same way that it did for sort of steel, aluminium or titanium in the past.
Probably gradually wear through the carbon too.
Could do, yeah.
If you had it in there for a few
Muddy
years.
winter days, yeah.
I get what you're saying though, function over fashion. Speaking of which, I'd also bring back smaller shades.
I didn't realise quite how much you cared about sartorial choices on the bike, Conor.
Well, again, I don't want to radically change it, but these new shades look ridiculous. I mean, you only need to take one look at the comment section under a video in which Si's been presenting with his massive shades to realise that most people think they do look a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, they're a bit like those clown glasses that you can get, aren't they? Size shades. I maybe just need to stick a pair of massive fake eyebrows on top of them to complete the look. Anyway, on to a slightly more serious note. I would bring back TTs on road bikes.
Oh, he's not going to like this one.
Well, no, because we said on the show a few weeks back, he's an aero weenie, isn't he? But my thing on this, it's mainly for amateurs and maybe lower age category riders. I mean, the fact that technology has come so far means that the barrier to entry has become greater and greater. If you're not spending thousands on equipment and probably testing in a wind tunnel for a time trial, you are probably going to be beaten before you've even started.
Would you do it for pro racing too?
I think I probably would, yeah. Because I would have thought that it would level up the playing field there as well to a degree. And I don't think the bike sponsors would have a massive problem with it because they don't really sell many time trial bikes anyway, do they?
No, it's true. I always felt I was hindered a bit by the UCI regulations, my height fitting on a TT bike.
Well, they've changed that this year, haven't they?
They have,
So
yeah.
you retired a little bit too early.
That was my excuse. Anyway, Dad. Right, next up, maps.
Are you old enough to remember using maps for navigation?
I am. I think I got my first proper GPS unit when I joined GCN in 2020.
No.
I believe, yeah. Before that was relied on the old paper version. Although that's not quite true because I did have a Garmin and I just didn't really use the mapping function on it until I joined.
Well, I was going to say, you must have had a GPS unit before you joined in 2020. I'm surprised, though, that you didn't use it to then. I think, already using the GPS function on a head unit back in 2011. I was creating maps and uploading them to my GPS and using them for races like Tour of Denmark and Tour of Britain, etc. But I am with you on this anyway. I mean, I do love the fact that you can't really get lost with a head unit. And I love that you can do so much research before you go anywhere to see what it's like. But I do get nostalgic at the thought of laying a massive map out and poring over it to see the best routes.
Oh, I used to love that. Get the old coffee out, looking over it, have my breakfast in the morning. You could plan, and there was that kind of element of unknown still, wasn't there?
Exactly, particularly the Michelin maps of France, I seem to remember. They had like a green line next to the most scenic roads in the local area, so you could do a decent job of planning a nice ride without much knowledge of the local area. And like you said, there was still that surprise of seeing everything when you got there because it was for the first time.
As long as you managed to take the correct road, it was easy to go wrong, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unless you got the map out every 5 minutes.
That was a bit of a pain, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The worst pain, though, was not getting it out every 5 minutes and realising you had gone wrong for a good half an hour.
Yeah.
Right, the last cycling trend that we would bring back is to join a cycling club.
Yeah, cycling clubs still exist and plenty of them, but there are more and more people riding bikes never been part of a cycling club.
No, which in many ways is fantastic because it's nice that you can just get a bike and kit and head out on your own or with some mates. There's enough online info to get you started there. But then at the same time, there is something about the small bits of advice, I think, that you get from others within a cycling club, whether that's road etiquette, group dynamics, or anything in between, really.
Yeah, and then there's the social aspect too, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for joining a cycling club, even if it's when you're just starting out. And I think that people who have never joined one, they are missing out when it comes to that aspect.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Right then, let us know whether or not you agree with our suggestions of cycling things that we should bring back. And what would you like to bring back that you don't see so much anymore? Let us know in the comments section below. Just before we move on though, you may have noticed that Conor and I are sporting some special t-shirts to celebrate the third and final men's Grand Tour of the year. La Vuelta a España starts this Saturday, the 26th of August. You can catch live coverage on GCN Plus if you're in Europe or the Asia Pacific, excluding China, Japan and New Zealand. Fantastic start. We filmed the preview show.
We did.
Today, didn't we? It's a fantastic start list. Evenepoel, Vingegaard, Roglic, Thomas, Ayuso. There's not many sprinters, are there?
No sprinters.
But there's a lot of GC riders.
It's going to be a mountainous one,
Yeah.
but it's shaping up to be a really exciting race, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that dynamic plays out between Jumbo-Visma and the rest.
Yeah, make sure you check out the preview show, which will be out tomorrow if you're watching this on Tuesday, because Conor, it brought back some very bad memories for Conor, who did a few of the climbs that feature in this year's edition when he competed there back in 2017.
Yeah, it's funny because I loved my experience at the Vuelta, but I do still get nightmares when I hear the soundtrack from the race that year, which they played at the start every single stage.
Yeah. Anyway, if you would like to see the full collection or get your hands on one of these t-shirts, all you need to do is head over to shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we'll start with the story of a 9-year-old legend who completed a half Everest in Australia recently. Constantine Gibson shared his incredible story with Bicycling Australia, saying how he rode 43 times up and down Spring Road in the hills of Kalamunda to get an elevation gain of 4,424 metres. Same journey as a ride to Everest Base Camp.
What a ride, Constantine. And at 9 years old, we reckon he's got to be the youngest person ever to complete such a feat. Some serious elevation gain there. I actually remember the first really tough climb that I did. I think I was probably slightly older, similar age. I was proud of doing it once, let alone 42 times. Amazing.
Yeah, mad. Moving on from incredible rides to insane bikes now, and check this out from artist and sculptor Jay Barzik. I did a massive double take when I first saw this and almost couldn't figure out who was riding who there.
Well, the haircut could be cleaned up, we think, at the front, couldn't it? To be a little bit more air. There's some gains to be made there. But we love any bike here at GCN, and that definitely belongs in the bike vault, I reckon.
Yeah.
Moving on though, and it seems not everyone is loving bikes, at least in the UK, after cargo bikes. Well, they've received a bit of a bashing on various media outlets in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Spectator, an online newspaper, have been having a bash at the dangers of cargo bikes, not mentioning any other so-called dangers of other modes of transport on the roads or any of the benefits to cargo bike use either. Coming off the back of comments by presenter Adrian Charles earlier in the year, who had a dig at them for being the pursuit of the affluent or delivering takeaways to the rich, which I think is pretty unfair.
Yeah.
It's riled me up, Dan. It's riled me up a bit because I love a cargo bike. So leave them alone. They reduce congestion. They're better for the environment. They're fun. They're safe, and they take up way less space.
It's very hard to imagine hating cargo bikes.
Yeah, they're a good thing.
Right, staying on the subject of e-bikes, New York has become the first city in the US to regulate the use of e-bikes and scooters in law. This comes off the back of a series of fires in the city, started due to faulty or malfunctioning batteries. Local Law 39, which comes into effect next month, will ban the sale, lease or rental of e-bike batteries that do not conform to safety regulations.
Fines of up to $1,000 will apply to offenders, and that includes those reselling old bikes too and their batteries second hand. New York is obviously a city which is very built up, and the majority of these fires have started from people charging faulty batteries inside. So hopefully this law doesn't deter cyclists, but it does appear at first look to be a good step to tackling the risk that poor e-bikes and e-bike batteries pose. It's not a ban entirely on e-bikes, but a ban on those uncertified batteries, which seems to be the right thing to do. Let me know in the comments below though if you're based in New York and what you think.
Yep, from New York now to the virtual world and the UCI Esports World Championships, which has been awarded to MyWhoosh, which is an Abu Dhabi-based platform. They're going to host the World Championships from 2024 to 2026 after winning the UCI's bidding process.
Yeah, Zwift has hosted the previous 3 editions of the World, starting off the esports disciplines in a way, as recognised by the sports governing body. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects racing next year. It's quite unique e-racing in the fact that in any other discipline you can change the country where a competition is held, you can change the terrain, but here the platform has changed entirely too. So remains to be seen how that will translate to racing and the winner of the World Championships.
Yeah, it will be very interesting, won't it? Last up then, Iranian cyclist Mohammed Gankanlu has reportedly been granted asylum in the UK after going missing following his appearance in the time trial at the recent Glasgow World Championships. The 26-year-old had disappeared from his race hotel and his whereabouts was unknown for quite a number of days.
Yeah, gold medalist in the scratch race at the Asian Games, Mohammed appears to have been granted asylum as civil unrest continues in Iran, with over 500 people killed after 10 months of protests following the death of Masha Amini in police custody after being detained for wearing her hijab improperly. Tough situation back in Iran,
it's really
and
tough over
yeah,
there.
and we wish Mohammed all the best for the future.
Next up, hack /bodge of the week. Don't forget you can get involved over on the GCN app by uploading your own hacks or bodges or any that you've seen around and about. First one this week comes in from Kelso Bikes. Bar tape for the steering wheel. The steering wheel was getting cracked up and beaten up. Some bar tape made it better. It even makes me feel a bit like I'm on the bike.
That's a hack from me. I'm always
Crikey,
for
that
it.
was a quick judgment. Normally have a bit of a discussion before we cast hack or bodge.
I'm a good fan of the bar tape in random uses. I put it on the pram.
I do.
Yeah, I do that. It's just
The only problem I can think of with this is if it starts to unravel whilst you're driving down a motorway, it could pose a bit of a safety problem. I might be nitpicking here.
It might make me a bit like nervous on the wheel because we're gripping. Because it make me, I don't know why I'd grip harder actually.
No, I
It
don't.
shouldn't really make me grip harder. But yeah, I'm going hack. I'd be a bit of a faff to get it around the little middle bit at 3 PM and 6 PM on the wheel.
Well, I presume the same faff as it is to get it around your STI levers.
Yeah, but
on
why
your
would you?
handlebars.
Why would you volunteer to do that? So that's like one of
Because
those.
his steering wheel leather's cracking up and beating up.
Yeah.
He explained it in the post.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Go
So
on
you
then.
s-
Well, I'm not saying it's a hack from the gun.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to make you think about your very quick snap decision. Well, I'll go hack as well, as long as it is very well taped on, so it's not going to unravel. 56% of you out there voted that one to be a hack, so it's pretty close.
There you go. This one's from Scotty Newbury. Wrong valve, no problem. Accidentally put my computer bike tube into my Presta compatible gravel bike saddlebag. With a little ingenuity, made it the 15 miles home after
Wow.
the flat.
I would never have thought of that working
No,
if I'd done the same thing.
I mean, fair play for getting home. Because you'd think the tyre would pop off, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, you would do. I guess even if you don't put a huge amount of pressure in it, it's going to build up pressure when you go over bumps and things, isn't it? I'm surprised you got back 15 miles on that. Well, that's a definite hack.
That's a
Because
hack.
it's a bodge that you went out with the wrong type of valve in your spare inner tube, but once you realised, like I said, not in a million years would I have thought of how to get a Presta tube to get me home when I've got a rim with enough space for a Schrader. Sorry,
fair
other
play.
way around.
I've never seen that before. I've heard of grass in the tyre and all that sort of stuff, but never
Yeah.
never outside.
Well,
Fair play.
I'm sure it's not the same. Not a mistake you're going to repeat. So I doubt you'll have to use this again. I'm going hack for that.
Looks like, well, the audience have gone 53% bodge.
All right, is that going to sway yours? Because you've not given yours yet.
No, I'm saying hack because it got them out of a bind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we
Roadside
go.
hack. That one.
Next up, from
yeah.
Kenneth W. Bell on aero integrated handlebars.
Yep, bells are mandatory in some countries, but there is no elegant way to put a bell on aero integrated bars. So I made a mount on my K-Edge mount to put a Nogoi bell.
That's pretty cool, actually.
I think that looks neat.
Yeah, I like that. And I do like a bell. I haven't got one on my bike because when I was in Belgium riding, you just shout pass up. And it's like that was the word.
Pass up.
Pass up. But yeah, but everyone knew that was what you would say if you're on a bike and you wanted to overtake someone. But we don't really have a word in English for that.
No.
So I feel really passive aggressive.
Excuse me.
That's it. Everyone-
Well, I tend to either. So regular viewers will know that I use Lorraine's e-bike to do the mile and a half down to town and back occasionally to get shopping. And there is a certain point where I'm on a path. It's a cycle lane as well, but it is a path. And my strategy, if there are a couple of people walking, because I haven't got a bell on it, is to either not shout, but either audibly say that I'm coming from quite a way off, so I'm not frightening them just behind, or I just cycle nearby at their speed and wait until they see me.
That's the thing though, that happens, then you get in a lot of trouble. It feels really weird.
Oh, we're just creeping up behind them.
Yeah. Because I did the same the other day, but I was like, right, I'm going to try and be as polite as possible and overtake. But I just coughed, but then a fly got stuck in my throat, so I just started coughing and overtook. You could just say, excuse me, you know. So you can
Would you
avoid-
mind awfully if I could get past, please? Yeah, I mean, it's one of those fashion things. I think a lot of us refuse to put a bell on a very high-end bike.
Yeah, but this is
there are good reasons, especially if you live in a place like Bath, where this office is, and you've got that bike path up to Bristol and back where lots of people use it for many other things apart from cycling. Anyway, we got way off topic because that is a very neat looking hack to me.
Yeah, and the audience are bang on that, 92% hack.
Wow.
So there you go.
Yeah,
Well done,
brilliant
Kenny.
stuff.
Those are high numbers.
Last one then from Moist Lime, Stormtrooper valve caps. Stormtrooper Lego head valve caps. Also will never hit a pothole with these on your bike.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if this is really for me. I think it's a good one, but personally I'd go Bodge just because
Yeah, I'm going Bodge as well.
Alex would say this is a hack.
Would he?
I think he'd love this. I'm speaking on his behalf.
Well, maybe Moist Lime, tag Alex Payton into your post or create a new one because I'm sure he'll mention it on the GCN Tech Show. But Conor and I, it's a bodge, but you'll be pleased to hear 68% of people voted that one a hack.
There you go. Make sure to upload your own hacks or bodges in the GCN app and we'll decide on them in a future show. Caption competition now, and it's your chance to win a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. This one is the slightly larger size, to carry plenty of liquid.
Yep. Last week's caption photo was this one from the World Elite Men's Time Trial Championships. There were a lot of options when it came to choosing the caption winner this week, but this one stuck out to me at least. It came in from Big Wodge S. Gannett and Tarling were so closely matched in the time trial that even a poll couldn't separate them.
There we go. That's a good one. I like that.
Well, they sort of did.
It took me a while to figure it out. the gears were turning for a while.
Yeah, brilliant stuff.
That's always a sign of a good caption.
Send us a message on Facebook, including your address. We'll get that bottle sent out to you. This week's photo comes from the podium of the BMSC Classics in Hamburg, Germany. This is Mads Pedersen, the winner, alongside Elia Viviani. We're going to both do the caption together this week, aren't we?
We are.
I'm going to be Mads Pedersen. Connor's going to be Elia Viviani. Right.
I've heard you like a big beer.
Not really. I prefer a little one. Yeah, you see what I did there?
I was wondering where you were going to go with that. Fair play, yeah.
I told kind of what I would like him to say, but I didn't tell him the punchline. Yeah, probably one of my better ones. Still not particularly great. You often put some brilliant ones in the comment section down below, which I'm sure will be no different this week. So get involved and we'll pick a winner this time next week. We've picked out a few of our favourite comments from the last week and we'll shortly be telling you what we've got coming up on the channel this week. I'm going to start with one that came under last week's GCN show. Now, we asked you to tell us your story of what cycling had done for you from a health point of view. There were so many really nice stories that I was reading underneath the show last week. I picked out this one from Dave Platten. At the age of 13, my mother was informed I would not survive to be 21, never be married and have children. This was all due to severe asthma. Through the years, I've lifted weights, competed in sports, and never really got in control of this challenging issue. Following a strangulated hernia in 1990, I refound bike riding and haven't stopped since. Then in 2016, the asthma clinic dismissed me, saying, when you're sick, come back and see us. Never thought I'd hear that. So don't let anyone tell you bike riding isn't good for you. Stay well and stay upright. And as I said, Dave's was one of many brilliant stories that came underneath last week's show. It's amazing the power of cycling in so many different respects, but particularly when it comes to health, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
And yeah, blown away. I mean, it's just, if you just get out and ride your bike, there's just so much that you can achieve and so much you can experience in the world as well.
Mental, physical, adventure. There's just so much going for it, isn't there? We also had MCB Photo saying that he thinks Hank had a good lunch in a pub before the filming last week. He was full of energy, I must admit. And then He's No Rocket Surgeon said, I love how Hank and Dan just outed themselves that they don't watch the tech show. Since calling Alex anything but his real name has been a running gag for months over there. Yes, been completely outed, unfortunately.
Yeah, Tim's got a good appearance on the tech show. 6 things you should be banned in pro cycling. This is from Alina Popescu, 872. All motorbikes which are not absolutely necessary should be banned. 2 or 3 at the most are quite sufficient. And that was off the back of us saying we'd ban motorbikes in racing.
Yeah, a difficult one, which I'm sure you went
tough.
into on the video, but there's so many different reasons for the motorbikes. Primarily for the safety of the race, isn't it? You see fewer and fewer motorbikes having to go past the bunch to then close the road in a rolling closure further up the road. But all the images we get, still and video footage, all come from the back of motorbikes at the moment.
Yeah, so still proving slightly controversial.
Anyway, underneath the ultimate gravel versus mountain bike showdown, which is faster, Chris rides bicycles per only Cy can talk about CDA wearing sunglasses the size of a barn door. Goes back to what we were saying earlier, doesn't it? Whilst David McKenzie wrote, looked like a great ride. Main takeaway for me was how much of the ride was traffic free. I don't want super gnarly mountain bike routes, but I love being away from the traffic in those liminal spaces Isaac mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what appeals to me in terms of gravel riding. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to be just off the beaten track, so to speak, isn't it?
Yeah.
And away from cars.
Have the space to yourself for a little bit, which is it's always nice. Anyway, these comments are under the hardest challenge we've ever done, which is when Ollie took on the Tour de Stations 1000, which when I first heard about this, I was like, he is absolutely barking mad.
Yeah.
But fair play to him because it was some effort. George D1 commented this: I followed Ollie on the semi-live map and tracking provided by the organisers, and I was stoked when I learned he finished 6th. This is massive, and the physical and mental endurance required for this is mind-blowing. Total respect and inspiration. And Craig Dyson 1761 said, over the last 28 hours, I've had 45 minutes sleep, and then smiles at camera. Chapeau Ollie, tremendous effort.
It was a brilliant effort, wasn't it? The days when we used to talk about Ollie being dropped feel like a long time ago.
It does. I think we should try and forget that we ever said
Yeah,
that.
I was trying to erase all the videos in which we mentioned it because it would be the rest of us getting dropped by Ollie, and that's been the case for a little while now. Anyway, coming up on the channel this week, on Wednesday, it is size handling drills, complete with barn door sized glasses, I presume. 6 things that you can do to significantly better your bike handling or increase your confidence on the bike. On Thursday, 8 types of cyclists, presumably that we all know and love. This is your video, Conor, isn't it?
It is, yeah. When I was thinking of the idea for this, I thought of a lot more than 8. I just don't know. There's many different cyclists out there, but there's the 8 most common, I feel.
Yeah.
So.
And then on Friday, have we been getting it completely wrong when it comes to the angle of your saddle? It's a bit of a tendency to nose dip now, isn't it?
There is, yeah. And we're seeing a lot of pros, including the likes of Tadej Pogacar, beginning to point their saddle down for certain races in the year. So I took a little look and tried to see if this is something we should maybe copy or if it's something we should use.
Yeah, interesting.
And then on Saturday, it's the world's most remote pub. So Hank and Mark Beaumont went off on a bit of a Scottish adventure to try and ride to the most remote pub going. And I heard they had a bit of an impromptu night in the wild too.
Did they?
Yeah, I don't think they quite managed to do what they wanted to do in a day. So a bit of camping involved. I was a bit jealous actually. Then on Sunday we have GCN does the Inferno. So Cy took on an absolute epic between Lake Annecy and Menton down on the southern French coast in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, don't want to give too much away on this, but if you like the prospect of watching Cy suffering massively, I would suggest that you watch it. Although a lot of the suffering is masked by the barn door size glasses.
I knew you were going to say that.
Anyway, we've also got a documentary out for you this week, which is Junk Bike Battle Cargo Chaos. So in effect, 2 teams, one of which was headed up by Ollie, were asked to basically use a load of old scraps of bikes and create the best bike they possibly could. So I haven't actually seen this yet, but I've been looking forward to seeing it ever since I heard the idea and the fact that it had been filmed. So that's available for all GCN Plus subscribers to watch from now. And also, a lot of racing for you coming up. We've mentioned the Vuelta a España, that starts on Saturday. The Tour de l'Avenir, which is a really strong indication to the stars of the future, that runs through to Sunday. The first ever women's Tour de l'Avenir starts on Monday, just after that. What else have we got? There's the Deutschland Tour, which goes from Wednesday through to Sunday, and it's now called not the Benelux Tour, but the Renewy Tour. That runs from Wednesday through to Sunday as well, and it's got most of the world's top sprinters taking part. There are some territory restrictions. Oh, also the Tour of Scandinavia, the next round of the Women's World Tour, runs through this week as well. So plenty to watch beyond the third and final Grand Tour of the season, but there are some territory restrictions on some of those races, so check what's available where you are. Right, I think that wraps things up for this week's GCN show.
Yeah, plenty of racing to look forward to.
There is.
Stuck into that. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Almost impossible to watch it all, I can tell you from experience. Right, see you next week.